guys, welcome back to our new monthly update. It's March 1st today, and we're going to be going over what's going on in the market, some of our new listings, and a few pieces of advice and just best practices that we're currently implementing right now.
Yeah.
So just to get into it, we've been busy recently with new listings.
Yeah.
A lot of onboarding there. We just took out 2 buildings in downtown Phoenix.
Yeah.
Right at the intersection of the 10 and 17. The first one's off of 1850 West Latham Street. It's a brand new construction building.
Really nice.
Full block and metal construction. It'd be great for a storage or distribution user.
Yeah.
It's both for sale and for lease. It's just over 17,000 square feet with a truck well. It's got a grade level door, 22 to 30 foot clear height. And is available at $1.15 a square foot triple net, or about $4 million on the sale price. So really nice building. I think that one will go quickly.
Yeah.
The next one is actually a portfolio sale, 2 different ownerships, and they're adjacent properties off of 1745 West Linden Street. It's just under 18,000 square feet of block construction on approximately 3/4 of an acre, single or multi-tenant capable. That one has heavy power, about 1,200 amps, and a double wide truck well. It's actually leased until August of this year, but after that would be great for a user or an investor to pick up. Asking price on that, it's 95 cents a square foot triple net on the lease and $2.85 million, but $160 a square foot on the sale. And the other part of that portfolio is another 3/4 of an acre to the south over on Roosevelt Street. That's 1730 West Roosevelt. Asking price is $1.1 million. It's A1 zoned, and would make for a great assemblage if someone wanted to come in and take over the whole lot.
Yeah, there's not a lot of outside industrial storage right now, so if you're looking for that kind of a play as a user or even an investor, I think that's a great listing, especially looking at infill and something that's central. It's got really good freeway access that we just recently took out as well. The next one that we've got is actually more of a specialty building. It's actually industrial condos down in Chandler, and those are the Falcon Storage condos. We've got 4 units for sale, and this is right off of Arizona Avenue and the 202. It's got great visibility. We've got units ranging anywhere between 1,080 square feet up to 1,500 square feet. We're asking $280 a foot for these. They're super nice. They've got fully insulated walls and ceilings, fresh paint, and they are fully sprinklered throughout, which is great. If you do want to add some square footage, you can actually take down a wall. Good thing is with these units, they're actually right next to each other, so you can do that. Clear heights anywhere between 18 to 21 feet as well. Each unit is fully HVAC, and it does have a grade level door that's 14 by 10 as well. What's really nice too, for these car collectors, boat storage, RV storage, there's actually a hookup for RVs, which is nice. There's a clubhouse with bathrooms and even showers, which is great. So really nice facility down in Chandler as well.
Yeah, those are really nice because there's not much new construction out there in that size range for someone that just needs a little bit of square footage for either their personal toys or to store vehicles. I mean, you're not going to find anything else that in that size range unless you were to go get some storage units.
Exactly. They're a lot nicer. So that's great. Awesome. Next thing we wanted to implement is a lot of best practices, like Landon was saying earlier, that we wanted to implement and obviously impart some wisdom, if you will. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just to cover time management. I mean, as a broker, it's super important to be careful with your time. It's one of the most important things that we have because obviously everything you're doing, you could be doing something else. And so one of the things we implement a lot is time blocking.
Yeah.
So making sure that you're putting things on your calendar, even cold calls, even emails.
Yep.
Working on a broker opinion of value meetings and really sticking to that because it's so easy to get dragged in a bunch of different directions in our business. Especially as your phone's ringing all day long.
Exactly.
The other thing we're doing, coming in on Saturdays, there's a lot of non-income producing activities, a lot of planning we can do over the weekend that allows us to free up time during our week for more income producing activities.
It's actually one of our core values that got implemented was call them on a Saturday. So it's something that we do a lot of catch-up work, and then obviously even prospecting on the weekends. you'd be surprised how many people actually pick up and are a little bit more friendly with their guard down as well.
Yeah, I mean, it works well because you're not catching people in the middle of the week when they're slammed with everything else, you know, all their big priorities. They have a little bit more time to talk on the weekend.
Yeah.
So that's been working really well. And obviously, another big part of this is qualifying your clients up front, both buyers, sellers, tenants, making sure that they're serious, making sure that they're not going to spin your wheels, for lack of better words, and are actually serious about what they're looking for.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of tire kickers out there, and you got to make sure who's going to be the real deal when it comes to leasing or buying a space. So
yeah, and that also works with sellers too. Like there's a lot of sellers out there that have a sky high number on what they want to get for their building. It's not necessarily going to be realistic, but how do you handle those types of clients?
Yeah, you know, when we're doing a BOV pitch, and we've done a lot, probably, I don't know, 15 or 20 in the last couple of months. Obviously, a lot of owners want to see where their buildings are, pricing out in today's market. And a lot of them have expectations still from 2021, 2022. So we do have to set those expectations with, a range of pricing that's going to make sense. And, you know, oftentimes if they're unrealistic, they're going to maybe push the envelope a little bit with maybe even 5 or 10 or 20% over what we suggest. But ultimately the market's going to decide what is your property worth after fielding offers, time on market, etc.
So it's really important to go over the comps with them too, so that they have an understanding of how their building sits apart from another one that they might have seen sell on the same street or even, across town. A lot of sellers, they'll see a price per square foot, they'll see a comp that's sold and think that they can get that for their building when really it's not a good comp to use. Yeah. And they get anchored to a certain price. So that's where we come in and educate on the market. Exactly. Show them what's currently out there and what's trading, and be realistic about what they can get to. Because at the end of the day, if we're going to put a property on market at a price, it's going to be a waste of everyone's time if it's not realistic. And obviously that's not something that anybody wants.
Exactly. Another thing too that we did want to cover is just some deal stories, pitch stories, and call stories as well. So something that we do have come up quite often is an owner will say, I want to do X to my property, and more often than not, it's not going to be something that's conducive or is necessarily going to add value. So feel free to use us as a resource. Get a team of architects, GCs, and use your brokerage community to see, is this actually going to be something that's going to be marketable and going to add value to your property before spending $20,000 to even like $500,000 on a building as well. So definitely keep that in mind for projects or capital improvements that you're going to be doing on your building.
So a lot of little things you can do out there too. Like we typically don't recommend someone go redo their whole building before putting it on market, but there's a lot of little things like paint. Is something that's helped us a lot on listings recently, where you just throw a fresh coat of paint on the outside and it makes the building look so much better. Easily the best return on investment that I've seen.
And it's one of the cheaper things you can do, surprisingly. So in the grand scheme, it does help out quite a bit.
I agree.
Yeah. Another thing too that we do get a lot with just like tire kickers, and it's funny with owners that we talk to that maybe only have like 1 or 2 buildings in their portfolio. They'll pretend that they know everything about the market, and then you talk to owners that might have 30, 40, or even 100 buildings in their portfolio, and they're way easier to deal with, willing to take your expertise and advice. So it's funny to see that dichotomy between the sophistication in investors as well. So
yeah, I agree. Some people, they just want a certain price for their building, and they don't necessarily care what's it's realistically going to go for. Yeah. But over time, as offers come in, and you just keep them up to date on where the conversations you're having and what groups are saying, and over time they'll start to realize what they can actually get. So
yeah. Another thing we did want to touch on is, if you're doing a sale leaseback, and obviously with buyers walking through, sale leasebacks are super important with buyers looking at the future income stream that they're going to get. be careful with what you say to them. Make sure that you're not painting a bad picture and not portraying your business in the worst light. Make sure that all your financials are in order, and making sure that everything's up to snuff, if you will.
Yeah, that's the other thing, because they're not just buying the building.
Yeah.
They're buying you as a tenant. They're
Exactly.
buying the income stream. So it's not as simple as just a price per square foot on an investment property.
Exactly.
They want to get a return on their investment and know that you're going to be there for the long run.
Yeah.
And be stable and have a good trajectory too.
Yeah, exactly. Next, we're going to go over some market conditions. Obviously, we're still seeing a little bit of a gap between buyers and sellers right now, a little bit of a correction in the market. One thing that we did touch on a little bit earlier was owners sticking to pricing from 2021, 2022. And I guess, what are you seeing with pricing and inventory as well?
Yeah, we're obviously starting to see, like we've touched on in the past, a lot more inventory coming on the lease side, a lot of bigger product. I would say the smaller, more infill locations are still very tight on the inventory side. That's where a lot of people want to be, centrally located for their employees, for their customers, close to where they are now. And still not a lot of product on the sales side either.
Yeah,
especially on investments. We're seeing a little bit more owner-user product hit the market.
Yep.
But investments are really few and far between, and there's a lot of investors that still want to put their money here. They're still very optimistic and bullish on Phoenix and Arizona in general with everything going on. But just to cover some stats here, we've got currently 43.5 million square feet under construction on the industrial side. That's about 10% of our total inventory.
Yeah.
Set to deliver in the next 12 to 18 months too. So that's where vacancy is going to come into play.
Yeah.
We're currently at 8.7%, up from 4.4% just 12 months ago. So we've seen a dramatic increase, mainly due to that large product coming to market. And we're expecting it to go over 9% in the next 12 months. So definitely a big change from where things were at in 2020, 2021.
I agree.
Of just a few percent. Yeah. And on market sale price right now, we're looking at $172 a square foot, up about 2% from 12 months ago. Average asking rents are $1.11 a square foot, up 10% from 12 months ago. And they're projecting them to stay relatively flat over the next year or so with all the inventory coming to market. Market cap rates, something that a lot of people are asking right now. We're at 6.5%, up from 6.06% just 12 months ago.
Wow. So definitely indicative of what we're seeing with the interest rate climate as well, and where lenders are comfortable underwriting on a property too.
I agree. Yeah, because a lot of lenders that we're talking to are still quoting high sixes, even low sevens on a lot of deals, obviously depending on what you're buying and if you're an owner user versus an investor, but still definitely hard to make sense of a lot of deals that are in low 6% cap rates unless you're buying it in all cash.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess what are you seeing for recent trades?
There's been quite a few that have come across recently, especially in Phoenix. So one of them was off of 2632 East Chambers Drive. That one was 114,000 square feet. Really big building, built in 1996, sold for $24,211 a square foot. That one was 24-foot clear height, had 6 truck wells, 6 grade level doors, and was block construction, zoned IP for industrial park.
Nice.
And there's another one off in Mesa.
Yeah, this one was super interesting, really high price per foot, small building on a pretty good sized lot. So going back to outside industrial storage being more of a hot commodity. So this one's 3951 East Palm Lane out in Mesa. This is over by Falcon Field. Really good industrial park as well. Just shy of 6,000 square feet. It was built in 2002 and sold for $2.5 million, which is about $431 a square foot. This one sits on about an acre and a half of land. It's got multiple grade level doors, some steel construction and block as well. Zoned I-1, and it does have a secured yard. So super nice property, and obviously having that outside industrial storage component fetched that high number.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of demand for that kind of product right now, especially for people that want to be in infill locations.
Exactly.
That's obviously because supply is starting to go down.
Yep.
People are building on that land, and people don't necessarily want to be on the outskirts of town in order to have a little bit outside storage.
Yeah, it's tough to find.
So there's another trade off of 2626 East Elwood Street. That one was in Phoenix as well. Just over 25,000 square feet. It was a newer build, built in 2019, and sitting on over 2 acres of land.
Nice.
Sold for $6.4 million, about $252 a square foot. Pretty high on the price per square foot. And that one was actually a sale leaseback. Has 2 grade level doors and a secured yard.
Nice. Another one out in Mesa. This is a little bit more close to an older part of Mesa. It's actually right off the 60. It's 1255 South Pasadena. Just shy of 75,000 square feet. Sold for about $11 million. This one was built in 1986. Sits on about 4 acres of land, and sold for $149 a square foot. It was vacant upon delivery. I know there was a tenant that they were waiting to actually have vacate. So that was kind of the process with that one. It did sit on the market just because they were waiting for that unique buyer that was going to pay that price. But this warehouse actually has 4 grade level doors, 10 by 12, and 2 truck wells, 24-foot clear height, and is concrete tilt up. So really good construction, even for older product, but still sold for a pretty good number.
Last trade we're going to cover is 3308 West Sherman Street in Phoenix as well. Just over 10,000 square feet, multi-tenant building, built in 1980 and traded for $1.6 million, $149 a square foot. This building was zoned A1 light industrial. There was 6 grade level doors, and it had a paved and secured yard on it as well. So that's going to be it for this month. Yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We're coming up on a few thousand subscribers now. So.
Yeah, 100,000, yeah.
100,000. Soon to be a million. Anyways, we'll see you next time.